We play and call it work.
Hey everybody, Matthew and Lee here from MiniWarGaming.com down in the Fungeon. I think I'm just going to call it the Fungeon. Although you had a new name for it, what was it going to be?
The Chop Shop?
The Chop Shop. Yeah, but that's like...
That's more of a conversion stuff.
Yeah, and that's for like cars and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, we're down in the Fungeon, Lee's workshop, to do another update video on the Age of Sigmar terrain that he's working on. So last week, I think, we put up a video about his progress on the bridge, so we'll show some more progress there. It's not done yet. And then some other terrain that he has finished and other stuff that he's working on now. Let's take a look. So we got a few things to show off.
I do.
So why don't we start with what's on the table right here? Why don't you walk us through what it is that you have built?
Well, I already started this one
in the last video.
In the last video, but now it's done.
So we decided to go with a base, kind of experimenting with it. But rather than, because a lot of times when you put the base, it's just like, here's an MDF base that goes around and we throw some dirt on it. But in this case, you actually made so the base is part of the piece of terrain. Yeah. In the sense that it's the stonework leading up to it. So I like that idea. We'll have to see how it looks on the tables once we actually get up there. But it'll give it more variety in where it can be placed. Yeah. There's always, like I said, there's always a drawback when you give it a base. Because all of a sudden it won't necessarily fit as much with everything else.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do the stones, like the slabs.
Yeah.
So it looks like, yeah, they
were manufactured, yeah.
And then put the walls up.
Exactly.
So
it fits better, for sure. And you're gonna be, as you can see, you've got all sorts of stuff that you're putting together. And we're getting the new Azurite ruins in as well. Yeah. Yes, like today, they're on their way, right? Like I think they're almost here. Like literally, as I make this video, they're being delivered. So that'll give us more, because we want just a bunch of random corner ruins that don't have bases.
And I want to see what I can do with the kit.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, we're going to just put some together as is, and then use the rest to kit bash.
Decorate like foam board or whatever.
Exactly. And so here, why don't you tell us how you achieved the effects of the tarnished bronze? I know there's more than one way to do it. How did you achieve it?
I try to eliminate steps. It's like some people do a base coat and then the metallics and then highlight them and put on oxide stuff. But what I did is it's 2 steps. It's Silverite green. That's
like the Games Workshop Citadel paint one?
Yeah. And Driver's Gold.
So normally when I've seen these kind of things, they would paint the metal color and then wash the tarnish and rust or whatever as there.
I did it the other way around.
So you painted it the tarnished color and then you dry brushed over the tarnish. Yeah. So it gives this effect. So if you're wondering how I achieved this. Remember, we're always looking for a combination of speed and quality. So this isn't to say this is the best way, because obviously the best way would be probably involving 20 different colors of paint.
Yeah, and
just to achieve the one thing.
Upon layers.
Exactly. We're looking so that on the table when you're back here, you can pick out a few different colors. And the lighting's pretty bad in here for showing things in.
Do it from the other side, might be better lighting.
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, so from here you can see that there's more than one color. Yeah. And then we have kind of the stonework as well that you did. So is that how did you just pull that off?
Well, I base coated black, as I do with most things. Then I rattle canned the Army Painter, what's the gray called? Uniform gray.
Rattle canned, what do you mean by that?
That's rattle can.
So you shook it?
Yeah, it's a spray can.
Right.
But if you say spray, is that airbrush or
Oh, I
can?
see. So like aerosol.
Yeah, it's rattle can.
So you sprayed some of that on?
Yeah, I did the whole thing. Then I gave it a white dry brush. But I used...
Oh, you're talking about the color for the main
Yeah, I'm just
stone.
talking about the whole process of the thing. Right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then I get a white dry brush. But I used airbrush primer to do the dry brushing. Because it's really thin and the gray will shine through. So it's not like... It doesn't look like I dry brushed it with white. It's like a light gray. And then I airbrushed washes on it. I put some camo shade down and some Agrax, and that's it. That's all I did.
Now what about this brown right here? How'd you make that different?
That's Flayed One Flesh.
You just painted over it with that?
Yeah. With an Agrax shade.
So nice and simple.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cool murals and depictions.
Yeah, it's really nice. If we can get things down to like 2, maybe 3 steps, then I'm good with it.
And then we have a slightly different color. This is at my request. I wanted the oculum part to be a different color, just so it stands out. And so you just painted that in a slightly different color than the other bronze. Now these kits have so much opportunity for even more detail. But it's just a matter of us having to budget our time, because there's so many things, even all the artwork that's on them. So these are fantastic kits, and you can see now that you can do much more with them than just put them together as is, because that can get boring. Because there's not a lot of Age of Sigmar kits, so you need to find ways to mix it up. And then you finish this other simple one.
Yeah. So it's
same idea,
exactly the same thing.
And that's the top. Just to remind you, that's the top from the Citadel, the Warscryer Citadel.
Yeah, that's the one that observatory. I just closed it and done.
Finito. And then what are you working on here with all these pieces?
I have an idea for another big one, another big piece. I want to make a hill, about yay tall, and then a fort with a tower.
And you're going to be using a lot of these pieces for that? Yeah. So how so?
I'm going to make archways out of these.
Which are these?
These here.
So those are the realm gates?
Yeah. Use realm gates for everything.
So there's your base structure, essentially?
I'm probably going to have to use a lot of foam core just for the walls, because they're going to be pretty tall. And then I'm going to combine these two for the corners.
And normally those are back to back, right?
Yeah.
And what kit are these from again?
That's the realm gate. It's the other side.
Still the realm gate.
It's the other side of it.
So instead of it being on the other side, you're just putting them top to bottom to make a longer pillar.
Yeah, this used to be 2. I just chopped the top of one and the bottom of the other.
Right, and stick them together.
So that's an idea I've got brewing.
How much planning do you do before you actually create a piece?
Not a lot.
Do you jot it down on a piece of paper, or?
Yeah, I see something that inspires me, and if I can look it up online, that's great. But usually when I'm doing these things, I have a general idea, but that usually changes once I start working on it.
Yeah, based on the pieces that you got too, right? Kind of have to adapt to whatever it's turning out to be based on the materials that you do have.
And just ideas that get born whilst working, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So.
And behind you, you're just working on some basic painting of the arcane ruins. So you've been airbrushing all of that.
Yeah.
Anything special about that? Or
not yet.
Just lots of painting.
Yeah. I'm probably going to do these guys in the same method as I did the stone on this.
Right. Just
so
kind
they
of
fit together.
Yeah, so they match.
Throw some greens and browns.
Yeah, so there's lots of little bits and pieces here that'll serve as good scatter terrain for our boards as well. And then you did finish the hill. Why don't we pick that up? It's quite heavy, so if you with all the plaster that's on it now. So this is the hill part. You haven't finished the bridge part because we're waiting for a few more pieces to finish it off, and then you'll paint it to match this. But this is essentially the finished product. Very heavy, so we're not too worried about warping. Which is nice. We'll have to kind of wait and see what happens. And you ended up bronzing these.
Yeah, I did paint them gray to look like stone, but because they're in shadow, they look like I just assembled them and glued them in.
And you didn't, because I remember when I first saw them, I'm like, oh, he didn't paint them. And then I look closer, I'm like, oh, he did paint them.
Yeah.
But from this distance, when they're going to get cut on camera, it's going to look like they weren't finished.
Yeah, they basically look like this. This is what they look like.
Yeah. Which technically is a color, but since we're all used to that color being the unpainted sprues, that's what it's based off of, right?
That's the irony of miniatures, right? If you have a gray army or gray terrain,
it looks unpainted.
Yeah, you base it just to paint it gray.
Yeah. Which is just, we're used to that because we're used to seeing gray plastic being used as the de facto standard for everything. So you finish this off. How did you paint it up? Same idea as the terrain?
Yeah, pretty much. I did this one first, and then I used the same method on those guys. But I added flock to this one to give it more color. And I actually used a lot of reds in this one.
Yeah, I can see reds all here. So why red?
I don't know. It looked kind of boring because I put the camel shade down and the agrax. Because those are the two ones my default washes because they work on everything. And it looked kind of meh, to be honest.
Not colorful enough? That will help once there's miniatures on it, of
Yeah.
course, and when there's a whole table worth of stuff. But it is a big piece,
Yeah.
and so it does beg for more colors just to
So I
help
threw
it
on
stand out.
Some reds, and then gave the whole thing a dry brush.
Of the white.
Yeah.
Now, you had expressed some concern that some of these pieces might actually fleck off,
Yeah,
and that
like,
we'll have some minor repairs to do
Yeah.
as we use it, because the plaster,
because there's some like nooks.
yeah, the sharp spots,
Yeah.
that'll get worn down, but we can
Fine.
you can do some quick repairs when
Yeah.
that happens. Just bring it out. And you added in some steps, so there's actual places to put miniatures on the outside as well,
Yeah.
just to make it a little more playable as well. So it should be interesting to see when we put this down on the table, and then just try to surround it. We have the bridge going across.
Yeah, because this is going to be like a quarter of the table. Just this.
Yeah, it's almost a 2x2 piece of terrain,
Yeah.
so it could take up a good
big.
a good sectant,
Yeah.
not quadrant, but sectant of the table. But that's fine because it, as much as it takes it up, then it also gives you that plain space as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking with the Hill Fortress too. It's going to be probably have the same footprint as this piece, but it's going to be tiered and that stuff. You can be able to pull the tower off.
Exactly.
So I'm still thinking if I should have it square or a hexagon, so it has 6 sides. So we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, so it should be interesting. We're going to be starting our Age of Sigmar narrative campaign soon in the next few weeks, and so you can look forward to that. Hopefully you'll start seeing it come out in April on Saturdays, but we're still in the planning phases for that as well, especially as we finish the End Times narrative campaign that's still going. So this is everything that's being worked on right now. There's Azerite runes coming in and some more stuff coming in, and I know Adam from Greenleaf Terrain is working on some stuff as well, so we'll have even more to show. But yeah, anything else that you want to add?
Not really. I don't have a lot of stuff to show right now because I'm still waiting to finish the bridge.
Yeah, still have all that stuff that we showed last week, all the Garden of Moor and the War Square Citadel that need to be painted up.
Yeah.
But you've been busy at work for all this other stuff and other stuff that you've been working on as well, of course. Okay, well, that is our tour of the Fungeon for today. So stay tuned for more terrain updates and more Age of Sigmar. Thanks so much. Happy wargaming.